Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Before you scroll away or click on something else, please just give me 30 seconds. Because today, we're talking about something that had millions of people around the world literally unable to breathe normally. Yeah, there he is. Park Jimin. A real human being. Not CGI. Not a filter. Not AI generated. And if you think you're ready for this, trust me, you are not. Today we're going all the way in on Jimin's visuals that have been breaking the internet lately. From Paris Fashion Week to the reactions of every single person around him. And I mean every single person who physically could not look away. So make sure you're subscribed, notifications are on, and don't go anywhere. This video is going to be long, it's going to be good, and you might want to grab some water before we start. I am not joking. Okay, before we get into the moments that shook the entire world, we need a little context first. Park Jimin, born October 13th, 1995 in Busan, South Korea, is the main dancer and lead vocalist of BTS. He's been with the group since their debut in 2013. But his visual journey? That is a story that never runs out of chapters. From day one, Jimin was known for his warm smile, soft eyes, and dance moves that seemed to flow like water. Fans called him Baby Machi because of his chubby, adorable cheeks early in his career. But if you look at Jimin in 2025, oh my god, he has become something far beyond the word machi. He has become a walking work of art. And what makes this moment even more dramatic is this. Jimin had just finished his mandatory military service. He was officially discharged from the South Korean military in June 2025 after nearly 2 years. And when he came back to the public eye, it felt like the sky opened up and the universe decided to reward humanity with something extraordinary. Overdramatic? Maybe. But wait until you see the facts. October 1st, 2025. The Jardin des Tuileries, Paris. Dior was holding its Spring-Summer 2026 show, a historic moment because it was the women's wear debut of new creative director Jonathan Anderson. But guys, let me be honest with you right now. Nobody cared about the collection the moment Jimin walked in. As Dior's global ambassador since 2023, Jimin took his seat in the front row. And the second he arrived at the venue, according to one major international fashion outlet, he sent the crowd into an absolute frenzy. Thousands of fans had been waiting outside for hours, standing in the sun, holding signs, banners, and balloons, screaming at the top of their lungs for one single reason: to see Jimin. Now picture yourself there. You've been waiting 4 hours. The sun is blazing. Your feet hurt. And then suddenly, he appears. Platinum blonde hair, styled in a clean center part with a semi-wet finish. A perfectly tailored black Dior blazer with satin lapels and padded shoulders, with no shirt underneath. Just the blazer and his chest, open and effortlessly elegant. Paired with low-rise black flared leather trousers, black Chelsea boots, layered gold chains from Dior's exclusive Le Jardin de Christian Dior collection, rings on every finger, silver hoop earrings, and body jewelry. I want you to picture this visually. I'll wait. Okay, done? Good. Now, the reaction that followed his arrival cannot be described in ordinary words. But I'm going to try. Fashion journalist from WWD, Women's Wear Daily, one of the most prestigious fashion media outlets in the world, wrote dedicated coverage about his presence. The Guardian covered it too. Hundreds of photographers scrambled to capture every single movement he made. And inside the venue, actress Monica Barbaro, who was seated right next to Jimin, admitted in an interview that she had been warned about the Jimin effect, and she was still not prepared. Even someone who was warned was not prepared. So if you're watching this video without any prior preparation, I take zero responsibility for what happens next. Now let's talk numbers. Because I know some of you are the type who need real evidence before you believe anything. So here it is. Within just 12 hours of Jimin's appearance at Dior SS26, hashtags and mentions related to him recorded 4.8 million posts on X, formerly Twitter. Not 4.8 thousand, not 4.800,000, 4.8 million. In 12 hours, the hashtag JiminDTS surpassed 1 million posts within minutes of him arriving at the venue. Jimin became the most mentioned artist on X globally for that entire day. And this wasn't just K-pop fans. Global fashion media, international magazines, and mainstream news outlets were all writing about him. Elle Thailand, Harper's Bazaar Japan, Days Korea, Vogue, all of them. One netizen wrote, "The world could end and Jimin would still be trending." And guys, that's not an exaggeration. That's basically a news report. This is my favorite part, because this is not about fans who already love Jimin. This is about complete strangers who had no context, didn't know who he was, and still could not move when he walked by. There was a viral photo that spread after the Dior SS26 event. It captured a moment involving a professional photographer who was working at the event, camera in hand, and his eyes wide open, with a smile he clearly could not hide, staring at Jimin as he posed. A professional, someone who works fashion weeks for a living, someone who has met hundreds of celebrities, and he could not hold his reaction together. Fans immediately dubbed this the Jimin effect, and more clips started flooding in. Venue staff standing still, smiling wide, their gaze completely locked on Jimin. Men who typically couldn't care less about fashion, suddenly unable to look away. Even male journalists who were there to cover the collection were reportedly left visibly mesmerized. One comment that went viral said, "Yeah, Jimin has this gender-neutral charm that nobody can resist." I mean nobody. And if you think that sounds exaggerated, remember, this isn't coming from biased fans. It's coming from people who encountered him in a professional setting and weren't planning on being captivated at all. That's what sets Jimin apart. His visuals aren't something you can choose to ignore. He simply exists in the room, and every pair of eyes goes to him automatically. Alright, now let's actually break this down, scientifically, if we can call it that. What is it that makes Jimin visually so extraordinary? Because if you pay attention, it's not just about one feature on his face. It's about a combination of things all working together perfectly at the same time. First, symmetry and proportion. Jimin's face has incredibly high symmetry. His cheekbones, the line of his jaw, the spacing of his eyes, all distributed in proportions that cause the human brain to biologically respond with a perception of beauty. That's not an opinion. That's science. Second, stunning contrast. There's a fascinating tension in Jimin's appearance. He can look soft and warm in 1 second, and then in the very next second radiate an intense, powerful energy. At Dior SS26, for example, his hair was bright platinum blonde, but his outfit was deep, all black. His face was gentle, but his posture was strong and commanding. That contrast is exactly what keeps people from looking away. Third, stage presence that carries into real life. Jimin is a dancer, and great dancers have an extraordinarily high awareness of their own body, the way they stand, the way they move, the way they occupy space. Even when Jimin is just walking from a car to a venue entrance, every step feels like choreography. That is not something you can fake or learn overnight. Fourth, an aura that's genuinely hard to explain. This is the hardest to describe scientifically, but nearly everyone who has seen Jimin in person says the same thing. There's something different about the energy around him. The way he looks at people, the warmth of his smile even in the middle of a massive crowd. All of it creates a presence that feels real and personal, even from a distance. And none of this happened by accident. For over a decade, Jimin has worked relentlessly to become the performer and artist he is today. His visual transformation from 2013 to 2025 is a direct reflection of his growth as both a human being and an artist. Because it wouldn't be complete without talking about the reactions. Here are some of the most iconic comments after Jimin appeared at Dior SS26. From one fashion outlet, Jimin looks even more breathtaking than ever before, leaving fans more mesmerized, more breathless, and more obsessed than they thought possible. From a fan on X, the aura, the loud cheers. Park, Jimin, the main character. From an international netizen, Dior's highlight was not the clothes. It was Jimin, and perhaps the one that hit hardest. I literally had tears in my eyes when he came out. I couldn't believe he was actually there, real, right in front of me. Guys, these aren't just overreacting fans. These are completely normal human responses to something that is, objectively, extraordinary. And even Hollywood actress Monica Barbaro, who was seated right next to Jimin for the entire show, admitted that the constant swarm of photographers around him was a little overwhelming for her. She also mentioned she had been listening to BTS on the way to the venue just to get into the right mindset. An actress, preparing herself to sit next to Jimin by listening to BTS. Honestly, makes complete sense. If we pull back and look at his entire visual journey, From Jimin with the blue eyeliner at debut in 2013, all the way to Jimin with platinum blonde hair and a shirtless Dior blazer in Paris in 2025, there is one thread that has never changed. Those soft eyes and that smile. Through every transformation, new hair colors, new styles, new eras, those two things have remained constant. And that is what makes people who are seeing him for the very first time feel like they've somehow known him for years. Because there is something about Jimin that feels real. Not the kind of perfection that's cold and untouchable, but warm perfection. The kind that seems to say, I see you here, and I'm glad you are. And maybe that's the real answer to the question in this video's title. Is this real? Jimin's visuals this close? Yes, completely real. And it's precisely because it's real that it's so overwhelming. And here's what makes all of this even more exciting. This is just the beginning. Now that all 7 BTS members have completed their mandatory military service, BTS is reunited. RM, Jin, Suga, Jhope, JiminWho, and Jungkook, all back together. And they've already started working on a new album, even traveling to Los Angeles for recording sessions. The BTS Comeback album is scheduled for release in spring 2026, which means concerts, promotions, live performances, and we are going to see Jimin back on stage, doing what he does best. If Jimin's visuals at Paris Fashion Week already looked like this, just imagine seeing him perform live. With stage lighting, with choreography, with a microphone in his hand. Yeah, the internet is not going to be okay. One more thing worth mentioning. After his appearance at Dior SS26, Jimin went live on Weverse to connect with fans. When asked about concert preparations, he was completely honest, saying his focus right now is finishing the album first, and he promised he'd work as hard as he could so nothing gets delayed. He also talked about personal growth, about daily challenges, and reminded fans not to worry about him, but to focus on staying healthy and happy themselves. That's Jimin. In the middle of all the global chaos his visuals create, he remains the warm, genuine human being who genuinely cares about the people around him. So, guys, here's the bottom line. Jimin's visuals aren't just about being conventionally good-looking. It's about someone who has worked incredibly hard for over a decade, who has grown and changed, who has faced challenges and come back stronger. And all of that radiates from every photo, every video, every single public moment he steps into. 4.8 million mentions in 12 hours. A professional photographer losing his composure. Global fashion journalists stopping writing about clothes and starting writing about him. A Hollywood actress listening to BTS to prepare for sitting next to him. None of that is a coincidence. All of it is a result of who Park Jimin actually is. And if you've never experienced what people call the Jimin effect before, well, welcome. You just lived it through this video. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't. We cover K-pop, BTS, and all things Korean entertainment on this channel. And drop a comment below. Which Jimin visual moment has left you the most speechless? I genuinely want to know. Until the next video, take care of yourselves, drink enough water, and be careful watching Jimin content alone at night. I am not responsible if you can't sleep. Bye, Purple Heart.